that's about it for qualifying for me. It was, like I say, it was kind of a bit procedural in a way. It didn't really, didn't get a sense that it was going to be a crazy weekend until turn one. Should we start with that? Should we get going?
I think it's only fair to start with turn one. Do you want to talk us through it?
Well, we get a crawl off the line as expected in the conditions because there's been rain earlier with the support series and it hasn't fully dried up, but it also hasn't fully stopped raining. There was a feeling that it was going to get a lot heavier at one point, which it didn't quite seem to do.
No, it didn't ever happen, did it?
But it did rain. It did continue to rain through the start phase, such as it was, because there was a red flag shortly after. But as they all went off the line, Bottas just goes way too deep. Nobody really knows exactly where the braking point is because they haven't practiced like this. They're guessing to a certain extent. Maybe their brake balances will be wrong and they'll lock up. But Bottas goes way too deep, just loses control of his car under braking and whacks into Norris. Norris has no chance, goes careering into Verstappen. And then Bottas goes on to hit Perez as well. And he tries to, whilst he's trying to recover his position. We also have Stroll, who tries to go over the grass, possibly to avoid contact or make a correction. I couldn't tell if he'd locked up and was he was going too fast after locking up or something. And just ended up going over the grass. He ends up hitting Leclerc, who in turn taps Ricciardo, who spins around. So it's this chain reaction as normally happens when you get these big events like this. Then suddenly we've got Mercedes without Bottas, who's out. Red Bull without Perez, who's out. And then during the restart, McLaren lose Norris. We also lose Mazepin. That happens in the pit stop. So loads of people are out. Everything is thrown into complete chaos. Hamilton is leading the race. And then we can talk a little bit more about what happens with the restart. So just sticking with that opening phase, a pretty mad opening turn one. Presumably the blame and the penalty given here is pretty open and shut for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I always thought there might have been some contact going into turn one, given the conditions. Bottas seemed to have a lot of speed, and even when he hit Norris in front of him, he carried a lot of speed into Perez, which is why Perez ended up retiring. And obviously, very unlucky for one Mercedes to take out two Red Bulls because Max had severe damage for the whole race, and we'll get onto that later on. But also Stroll, I think what you said was very true. He locked up, or he realised he was going too fast, and to take avoiding action, he couldn't go left into the path of the traffic. So his other option was carry on going straight and rear-end someone or go onto the grass, but there was less traction on the grass, so he kind of just not sped up, but didn't slow down anywhere near as he expected to, and then went into Charles, who suffered quite badly, and then who hit Ricciardo, who ended up backwards. It was just an absolute...
Of course, Leclerc was out as well, yeah.
What a mess. Six cars out within the first couple of laps, because obviously Norris and I think Leclerc retired in the pit lane once they came round.
Leclerc was out by the side of the track, I think. But
was he?
Yeah.
Honestly, I was struggling to keep track of who was where and what was going on. At one point, well, I think, who was P2? I think Ocon came out in that mess in P2. And I was, well, it says a lot, the guy won the race, but he came out of all this mess in P2 and he must have thought he was the luckiest guy alive. And Hamilton must have thought, I don't know what I've done to deserve this, but somehow my teammate has bottled it and caused both the blessed. Hamilton does have the best fans, and Bottas is one of them, and took out both the Red Bulls. It was just, you can't write this stuff. If it was not, we walked away from Silverstone thinking...
There's some people on Twitter that are giving it a damn good go. If they can make something up that sounds spicy, they'll do it.
Yeah, it's probably already going around. But coming away from Silverstone, all the eyes were on Hamilton and Max, and they both had good launches, and they both looked like they were going to make the corner pretty well without any contact. And who knows what the rest of the lap would have told. But Bottas, what a colossal mistake. And he's been on the receiving end of mistakes this year with Russell was it Imola?
Yeah.
And this one was all on him. 5-place grid penalty for the next race. Very harsh penalty, but well deserved, because he had taken out, he'd taken out 3 cars and then obviously caused 2 to retire. And Mazepin, I feel like, is very unlucky because he managed to avoid all this contact and then got hit in the way to the pits. And this is a race which would have been really important for Haas because they could have capitalized on this. If they had another car in the track, they could have held up a couple more cars or prioritized one car. And I'll get on to Williams later on and how they played an absolute weldy with their drivers. But in a race where you've already got 5 people not finishing, the chances are higher than usual to get both your cars or one of your cars in the points, and points mean prizes. And I did feel sorry for Mazepin. It was a real unlucky turn of events for him. But what a lap one! Absolutely, just crazy.
I don't know if it was Giovinazzi or Raikkonen. Obviously, one of the Alphas was released into the path of Mazepin. That was like an unsafe release, and they just didn't seem to get any. There wasn't even an investigation for it, as far as I could tell. I don't think anything happened. I know Giovinazzi got a stop-go for speeding in the pit lane at one point,
and Raikkonen got a 10-second time penalty.
Did he get? Was that for the unsafe release? Oh, yeah. Okay, he did get it. I can't remember if he actually got anything for it because it was pretty slam dunk, and I thought McLaren might get one later on too for Norris, but he ended up retiring. So yeah, I don't know if maybe they didn't pursue it just because he was out of the race, but